and a transformation coach. He supports others in identifying and developing a stress reduction practice centered on self-kindness. In this way, clients can access inner resources that ground and center them, even as the world changes. With that, Drake Powe.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. First of all, I just feel such an enormous gratitude in the opportunity of being here today. So I just want to express that. Now, the very first thing I'm going to do is ring the bell. Bless you. I'm going to ring the bell. Here we go. Now, I'm going to ask you to take a very, very powerful act. I'm going to ask you to take a nice deep breath in and make a big ah sound. Ah. And just take a moment, attention right in the center of the chest, and just take a moment and notice the after effect of that. Can you feel that? Can you feel that opening that occurred? I want to suggest to you that when you do the ah sound, it creates an opening. It opens your heart. And so what I want to suggest to you that opening your heart is a big part of what we want to talk about here today. And I want to say to you that when you learn to live with an open heart, when you learn that you can be with an open heart, even in the world as it is, especially as the world as it is, you're able to change the world. You're able to change your relationship to the world. And if you change your relationship to the world, the whole world changes. Right? And so I want to suggest to you that we want to have some framings that we can support ourselves with. One of those framings is this. By the time you realize that you're stressed, you're more stressed than you realize. I'm going to say it again. By the time that you realize you're stressed, you're more stressed than you realize. Now breathe into that statement. How does that feel? Does that feel right? I want to suggest to you that when you are really in tune, when you hear a statement, you're going to feel a sense of resonance. It's going to feel right to you. For me, that one feels right. And I want to suggest to you that we can have a relationship that actually supports ourselves in being kind to ourselves and grounding and calming that relationship to that inner relationship to stress. We can change our relationship to stress by being aware of something very, very powerful. And I want to suggest to you that one of the most powerful elements that you can ever make contact with, the most powerful element in the universe, is faith. Faith. But I want to suggest that you come to faith in your own relationship to that, not the way that you've heard it from other people. Don't let other people define what that is for you. I want to suggest to you that faith is actually authentic. It comes from inside out, not outside in. And so I want to suggest to you that by being aware and understanding what faith is, by listening, by sounding it out, and by hearing what feels right in your heart, you're able to find your own process that leads you through this life. So how do we do it? I want to say to you that we do it by understanding the difference between faith and belief. Understanding the difference between faith and belief. So what are some of the elements of faith? When you have a relationship to faith, you have a sense of ease. When you're all caught up in your beliefs, you end up feeling triggered. Does that make sense? When you have a relationship to faith, you have a sense that you're perfect just as you are. You have a sense that you can sit back and be led. When you have a sense of focus and belief, well, that's called fear masquerading as faith. Fear masquerading as faith, not faith. So I want to say to you, belief is a tool. Belief is a tool. Never mistake it. There's an old meditation story. It was also in Enter the Dragon. You know, Bruce Lee points at the moon. He says, never mistake the finger pointing for the moon as the moon. The finger pointing at the moon is the belief. The moon itself is the faith. If you get caught up in thinking that fingers pointing is the thing that you want to be devoted to, well, I'm going to suggest to you that there's going to be a lot of people pointing in directions that you don't want to go. That's not faith. So we want to be aware and understand that faith is a sense of ease, it's a sense of confidence, it's a relationship to genius. Faith is not about the past. If you are looking for faith here in this world, you're not going to find it. If you lost your keys somewhere and you're going to try to look somewhere you didn't lose them, you're never going to find them there. Faith is not found in this world. Faith is in the world, but not of the world. In the world, but not of the world. That is faith. And so what happens when you have this connection to that, well, you come to the world and you feel like, hey, things are going to work out. Things are going to work out. And so I want to suggest that you reverse engineer belief. Start with faith. Start with presence. Start with just real, complete relationship to presence. And then reverse engineer it back into belief. Reverse engineer beliefs and come into that relationship to faith. So, what we end up happen in this kind of situation is we are able to adapt to what is. So how do we reverse engineer this? Well, what are some of the elements that when you feel a sense of faith? When you feel a sense of faith, you feel a sense of peace. Isn't that true? When you feel a sense of faith, you feel a sense that everything's going to work out. Isn't that true? So reverse engineering faith or belief is making the statement, everything's going to work out. Everything is going to work out. Everything is working out. It's working out right now. Now, it may not work out the way we feel like it should work out, the way we believe it should work out. But when we have this relationship to faith, what faith is, it's in the world but not of the world. It means that it's never trapped in the situation. When you're in belief, you're caught up in the situation. All of a sudden, it's all around you. When you are in faith, you're bigger than the situation. You're larger than life. And so I just want to ask you to be aware of this relationship to it and recognize that in its relationship to it, it gives you a source of inspiration and nutrition in the midst of everything that's going on. Everything that's going on. And by the way, I'm not opposed to having delusional beliefs. Right? I have some delusional beliefs, but they connect with my sense of faith. So I'm asking you to be aware of how it makes you feel. Don't insist you know how it makes you feel. Listen to your heart, how it makes you feel. You know, one of the best and most powerful things in the world is when you hear something you've never heard before, but you know it already. Did you hear that? When you hear something that you've never heard before, but when you hear it for the first time, you already know it. That's a relationship to faith. And so what I want to suggest to you is belief is trapped in the past. Belief is like living in a haunted house. I grew up, being in movies, watching movies. And I was, and isn't it interesting when you believe you like something, you don't listen to yourself, you insist that you like it. I used to be that way with horror movies. I believed I liked horror movies. But what was really happening is I was growing up in a situation where my nervous system was stuck on. I was often in a sense of risk. And so I used to like to watch horror movies because I would get into that sense of fearfulness in those movies. It felt like my baseline. But one of the things I never understood in these movies is when people would be living in these haunted houses. They're living in these haunted houses. And things are going on day after day, month after month. I'd be like, hey, we're breaking the lease. Right? And so this is what I'm suggesting, is break the lease with beliefs that don't work for you. Beliefs that don't work for you are like living in a haunted house. These are the beliefs that you were conditioned to believe. Beliefs that you're conditioned to believe, that's that haunted house. That's like in the Christmas Carol when Marley has the chains all over him that are weighing him down. That's the past. That's that prior conditioning. I want to suggest to you that faith is really about your authentic self, not the self that you were told you had to be. Remember, some of the hallmarks of belief is people who are really, really strong in beliefs insist that you believe what they believe. They don't want to wait to find out what you believe. They don't want to give you the opportunity of believing something that's different than what they believe. And so when we have those people incorporated in our minds, in our consciousness, we then begin to become those people. We become our own jailer. It's like going into the basement and seeing your best friend in a closet, bricking himself or herself in, brick by brick, telling you about how they don't feel like they have any options. They're their own jailer. We become our own jailer. But faith is in presence. Faith is a revelation. Faith is a surprise. Faith is a genius idea that you never anticipated before and never would have thought that it ever would have come to you. Faith is when you realize that you can have a different relationship to your stress, and that when you do, your test becomes your testimony, whatever your stressor is. So it's about saying yes. It's about saying yes in faith and releasing our relationship to doubt. I'm breaking up with doubt. Doubt is a relationship that doesn't work for me. You know? It doesn't mean that doubt might not come by like a cloud, but I'm breaking up with my relationship to entertaining it. This is belief that leads to faith. So, I want to do some practice that actually embodies it. So I want to suggest to you is, where are your beliefs? They're in your head. They're your opinions. Remember, beliefs, just because you're right doesn't mean you're not wrong. Absolutely not. Just because you're right doesn't mean you're not wrong. If you're coming through something with belief, meaning that you have to have everyone else believe what you believe, it doesn't even matter if you're right about it. What that ends up being is a way of using force. If you're using force for positive beliefs or for a positive situation, it's still not going to get things done. Faith is a sense of relaxation. You don't have to worry. Things are going to work out. Things are working out. And faith is a full-bodied experience. Faith is a full-bodied experience. Faith is about getting into your whole self, not your partial self. Again, we want to recognize, you ever have that happen? I know you have. I know I have, where you one moment think you should do one thing, the next moment you think you should do the other thing. That's called doubt. You bounce back and forth. Faith doesn't have that relationship to it. Faith has a sense of knowing. When you get to the point where you really know when you release those doubts. So that happens with fullness. That happens when you get into your body, and it happens when you do things consistently. I had this thing happen. This is one of the most amazing things that ever happened in my whole life. This is one of the most amazing things that happened in my whole life. I didn't have a mentor. And I thought, what would the man I want to be like be doing today? And I said, I had this belief that if I do the same things that man is doing, if I do the things I imagine that man is doing, I will one day become that man. I am that man. That is the belief that came to the fulfillment of faith. So I want to suggest to you, don't lament your life. You're right on time. You're at the right time of your life. You're in the right position to do something amazing. And that starts with that relationship to, I want to suggest, the belief of learning how to forgive yourself. Forgiving yourself is a relationship to opening up. All of a sudden it comes through. And then that's when we can do things. And I want to suggest to you that this is one of the things that we're going to do some work to get embodied. But I want to suggest this is a mission should you choose to accept it. I'm asking you to be able to receive compliments. If you're not willing to clean the bathroom, don't expect anyone else to clean the bathroom. If you're not willing to receive compliments, don't expect the people in your world to receive them. If you want to be of service in your world, start receiving compliments. Let it absorb like menthol right into your chest. So let's create this relationship to the embodiment of faith. So I'm asking you to do this very simply. If you do these very simple things consistently, it's not about doing big things, it's about doing small things on a consistent basis, you'll find your faith beginning to stimulate. All of a sudden you start feeling that light shining. And so I want to suggest that this happens every single day by acting like you're important. I believe each one of us is important. And that happens when you get up in the morning doing something right off the bat to calm your nervous system. I'm asking you to have this list of 10 state changers, write those 10 different things down that work specifically for you, things that work for you to calm your nervous system, and to do it like it's important. I want to suggest that walking every day calms your nervous system. I want to suggest that doing artwork on a regular basis calms your nervous system. Remember that nervous energy is creative energy. When you do something creative, you release your nervous energy. I want to suggest that when you have less nervous energy, you're going to have also less irritability. When you have less nervous energy, you have less irritability. When you have less irritability, you begin to make the world better just a little bit. So write those things down, 10 different things, and do them like they're important. Cooking with music on. Soothing music. Or cleaning with a positive podcast on our YouTube channel. What's that one? Oh, yeah, mine. Touching the Edge. Yeah, it's a positive YouTube channel. Doing anything that calms your nervous system, and then doing things that stimulate your relationship to the belief. When you calm your nervous system, remember, if you're starting with an excited nervous system, an agitated nervous system, you're going to develop beliefs that support you in being agitated. If you calm your nervous system down and then go from there to your beliefs, you're going to develop beliefs that help you calm your nervous system. And so the second thing is activating those affirmations, talking about those things that you want to hear, not that you're afraid to hear. So let's get up and do some process if we can. Now, you don't have to get up. So what I'm asking you to do is touch your edge. And so this is part of developing this relationship to faith, is learning to listen to your own intuition about what's best for you. Don't do this if it's not right for you. But if it's right for you, I'm going to ask you just to stand up for a moment. Now, my feet start off hip width. So what I want to suggest to you is getting out of your doubts and your worry is about getting out of your head and getting into your body. Please don't force yourself to stand. Please don't. Okay. I know you can. I just don't want you to force yourself to. Now, the feet are hip width. Now, be aware of your chest. Now, I want to suggest to you that your relationship to your body is your relationship to faith. Your body has a different relationship to faith than you do. Bring the chest up and just see how that felt different already. Now my palms are forward. I pull that navel in a little bit. I'm going to start doing backward easy circles. Go slow. Go slow like you're listening to your grandmother or your grandfather. They're expressing something in wisdom, but they're doing it through movement. Now make sure that you're not going to hit anyone. You can turn to the side if it's best, but start doing backward, slow, easy circles into your shoulders. Go slow. Breathe. Faith happens when you don't get caught up in words. Hook the fingers on either side of the clavicle, stretch your chin up, open and close the mouth, angle it one way and then the other. Pull that navel in, interlace the fingers. Come behind the head, just gently stretch to the back of the neck. Go slow, angle it one way and then the other. Don't drop the arms, relax the arms down. Left arms are hanging, navel's pulled in, right hand comes up and over, just gently open up the side of the neck. Just go easy, go slow. Other side, be easy, go slow. Now, I want to tell you what, this is one of the most powerful things you can do in life, is to learn how to open your body. And this, when we are feeling fearful, when we're experiencing fear, or when we're experiencing anger, what happens is our body begins to collapse in and begins to try to protect the heart. So opening your heart actually helps you to have faith. So my palms are out, active core. Now be aware, pull the shoulder blades tight. Put the tips of the shoulder blades in the back pocket. Ears over shoulders. And just imagine you're just looking up at the sun. Inhale. Relax the arms down. Breathe. Just feel it. Now we're going to do this 2 more times. Shoulder blades tight. Put the tips of shoulder blades in the back pocket. Ears over shoulders. Breathe. Now I'm asking you to do that 1 more time, but I'm asking you to have your attention right in the center of your chest, and I'm asking you, if it feels right, for you to say this statement. Shoulder blades tight, tips of the shoulder blades in the back pocket, ears over the shoulders, attention right in the center of the chest. I have faith. Breathe. I have faith. I have faith. 1 more time. I have faith. Relax the arms down, breathe. Now I'm going to grab my right wrist behind the back. I'm anchoring that wrist. I have my head up. I'm just coming to the side, just opening up the neck and shoulders. So your beliefs get trapped in your neck and shoulders and your jaws and your low back and your rib cage, anchoring that other arm, coming the opposite direction. Breathe. So when we release areas that our judgment gets caught in, we are helping ourselves to release those judgments, all right? Now activate that. No, I'm sorry. So we're going to go ahead and bring those arms out. Rotate the forearms back, chest up, ears over the shoulders. Relax it down. This is the last movement, standing up. Rotate, chest up, ears over the shoulders. Feel that shift. Relax it down, breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Breathe, let it go. Now I'm going to ask you just to receive your seat again. Now these things that we talk about happen in subtlety. Just be aware that when you sit down, there's a subtle part of you that's just like, I'm so glad to be sitting again. Right? Right? Now we're going to activate a few more things. Now be aware that one of the things that happens when we're fearful is our head begins to stick out. That's not an accident. The more fearful you are, the more that you want your head to go forward. Your head is what we represent as ego. The head is what we think of as a separate self. So the head is trying to make sure things go right. We need to relax back in our chair. Relaxing back in the chair is a relationship to having a different relationship to our neck. Now I'm going to have my head, I'm coming forward, I'm coming all the way back, I'm guiding it deeper, I'm intentionally relaxing the neck and shoulders. Keep breathing. Exhale, come forward, come all the way back. One more time, come forward, come all the way back. Intentionally relax the neck and shoulders. Now just 2 more movements. Right hand is on the left shoulder. See if you can place that right ear on the front of the right shoulder. Feel it out. There's going to be a release in there for you. Breathing. Now, as you're doing this, I want to ask you to be aware of there's something happening. This is a secret. As you're releasing your neck and shoulders, you're also releasing your grip on your beliefs. Opposite hand. Left hand comes in front. So when you're feeling beliefs that you are not altogether certain of, you become more tight and in more pain. Now here's the last one. We're going to have the forearms up, palms up, press the elbows in the back of the chair while the chest comes up high. Feel the firmness of the chair, rib cage. Let it relax. Inhale. Exhale. Chest comes up, press the elbows in the back of the chair. Inhale. Last time. Deep breath, let it go. Now, this is one of the most incredible things in the world. I'm going to ask you to take a full body breath and a magnificent yawn, but visualize a great line. So deep breath in, big yawn. Oh my God, that was one of the most beautiful yawns I've ever heard. That was amazing. I wish I had recorded that. I'd be trying to do that myself. Now I'm going to ask you now, just be aware to activate the de-escalation template. The de-escalation template is a relationship to non-layer de-escalation. It's being in the world but not of the world. So now I'm going to ask you can do this with your eyes open or closed. Begin slowing your breathing down. I want to ask you to be aware of this. When you have the ability to shift your relationship to the breath, this is a belief, a positive belief. You have the ability to calm your life. Slow the breathing down, drop awareness into your lower abdomen, an inch below the navel, half an inch in, slow the breathing down. Now, how big are you? Are you as big as your body? Or maybe you're as big as how far your awareness shines. Slow the breathing down, drop awareness into the lower abdomen, and shine your awareness in all directions at once. Let your awareness experience the entirety of this building. Notice subtlety. What are your hands in contact with? And right in the center of the chest, shining in every direction at once. I am. Breathe. I am. I am. Slow the breathing down. Let's take a breath. Make an ah sound. Breathe. Now just ask yourself just to be present. Notice the aftermath of this. And I want to suggest to you what you're experiencing now is the reality of faith. It's not a thought. It's an experience. Breathing. Eyes open. Well, thank you for going on that little excursion with me, that little adventure. Now, I just want to ask anyone, 2 questions. By the way, what did we do there? That was so simple. We did the posture series and the de-escalation template. That's all we did. That was like 2-3 minutes. If you do that every day, it's going to shift your emotional baseline. And I'm telling you, how do you want to be of service? How can you be of service? Learn how to shift your emotional baseline. Learn how to get out of your beliefs and into your presence. Believe me, if we see this world, people get out of their beliefs and into their presence, do you know how much better the world's going to be? If you look in the mirror and the person in the mirror has spinach in their teeth, don't rub the mirror. Get some floss. So what I'm saying is when you change your relationship to your emotions, when you can calm down, when you can be aware of when you're in your beliefs and not in your presence, you can make the world a better place. So does anyone have any questions? First of all, I want to ask you how those practices went, and does anyone have any questions or statements about the difference between faith and belief? Does anyone have anything they'd like to say or add to that conversation, or tell us how those elements worked, how that felt for you to do those practices? So I'm asking you to be aware, and be aware too, because I know that you had some experiences. And so I want to ask you to be aware that part of freeing up your relationship to faith is freeing up your voice. And so I want to do a little bit more practice with freeing up our voice. Do you remember how your mom or your grandma or someone that you knew used to be in the kitchen and they might be singing, they might be doing chores, cooking, they might be singing? Does anyone else have that experience? Did you ever have like an elder or like a dad or a father or a grandfather who might be in their shop and they might be whistling as they were working? I want to suggest to you that we've only been consuming music for like the last 100 years. Before that, we made music. And so one of the elements that I want to suggest to stimulate faith is to stimulate your voice. Remember, when you release your voice, you are releasing your ability to intend. We want to release our voice in a way that manifests the world more abundant. And so just releasing our voice. So let's release our voice real quick together. Okay? So I'm going to ask you just to sing this song with me. Just a few. I'll sing it by myself if anyone else does. But I'm going to ask you to sing this song. I wrote this song. It's called Row, Row, Row Your Boat. And let's just sing it 3 times. So I'm going to sing it. I'm going to ask you to be aware of how you feel. So here we go. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Yes. I love that. Let's take a breath. Sigh it out. Now just feel it. So one of the things I want to encourage you to do to shift your relationship to stress and to doubt is to start singing more. Start singing more. Singing is something that's organic to us. One of the things that I want to suggest is happening in our society is we're losing contact with those things that we have done in humanity throughout history to regulate our own nervous system. I'm asking you to start singing more. Sing in the car. Sing when you're by yourself. Now, the other thing I'm asking you to do is do more vocalizations in other ways, breathing techniques. I want to ask you to combine a couple of breathing techniques with me right now. This is called the 4-8 breath, but I want to ask you to combine this with humming. So I'm asking you to breathe in for 4, hum for 8. Inhale 4, hum 8. One more time. Inhale 4. Take a breath. Just feel that for a moment. Just breathe. Notice how that felt. So what that does is it gets you into that space where you're able to experience your life outside your thoughts. And by the way, this is not Pollyanna. This is real world stuff. I want to suggest that you develop a relationship to faith that exists in the world where things are not going the way you want sometimes, and that exists in the world with health issues. So for instance, I deal with autoimmune issues. And so sometimes, even in a moment, I might be kind of getting sick in a moment. I know a lot of you have these experiences. We want to develop a relationship that allows us to be bigger than those health issues. Faith is not distinguished by not feeling good. So anyway, how did that go? We did the singing, we did the humming. Does anyone want to say anything about those practices? Anyone have any statements or questions about those practices? Yes, please, go right ahead.
You hear me? Oh,
Yep.
no. Okay. Well, I was feeling less pain.
Absolutely, absolutely. What's going to happen when you do these practices? You're going to feel less pain, and not just physical pain. You're going to feel less emotional pain. Remember, I'm not the only one. I know that a lot of us have pain issues. I tell you what, I get up in the morning, I don't know what's going to be working sometimes. Right? Knees hurting, hips hurting, backs hurting. Autoimmune issues are activating. But what ends up happening is we want to recognize that, like, say you have a knee that goes out once in a while. You're not shocked that the knee goes out. You know what happens once in a while. You don't, I hope, take it as a personal statement about you. I want to suggest that emotional pain is no different than knee pain. Emotional pain is simply scar tissue. And so when you feel doubt, that's just emotional pain. Don't identify with it. Just like you don't want to identify with knee pain. Thank you so much. Anyone else have any statements or questions about any of these practices? So I'm asking you to step up and activate passion. I want to ask you to activate passion. So once you calm your nervous system, once you sing, once you activate things, and remember, another thing that really works great is when you're walking, play something that has a positive frame. Play something that either you really groove with or is saying something that really activates your relationship to faith. Play something where someone is expressing beliefs that give you a sense of faith. How do you know that you have a sense of faith? When you start saying to yourself, I think everything's going to work out. How do you know when you're not connecting with faith? When you're thinking, we're going to hell in a handbasket. Right? Connect yourself with things that give you a sense that things are going to work out, especially when you're walking and you're using a really, really good arm swing. Okay? And recognize these relationships are things that you can do on a regular basis to help shift things and help you make you feel better. And I'm going to tell you what, the world's going to be a better place if you're feeling better. And one of the things it does is it helps us to not doubt. It's okay if doubt comes up. Just like in the song, merrily, 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 life is but a dream. That's a technology, by the way. That's a technology. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. The stream is the stream of life. Merrily, 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 merrily. That's not something that happens to you. That's something that you do. Faith is not just something that happens to you. Faith is something that you do. That's merrily, merrily, merrily. Life is but a dream. You have the choice whether this is a dream or a nightmare, and that's based on whether you create beliefs or whether this is heaven or hell. You get to frame that. So one of the ways we frame is by asking positive questions. And I'm going to ask you the 7.5 positive questions. I'm going to answer every one. If anyone hasn't answered any of these questions, please do it. But be aware that when we do it, this is about the unified field. The unified field is your ability to change your life and have the world change. Don't wait for the world to change before you develop faith. Develop faith before the world changes. That's the way it works. And so you have to do things that actually generate faith. And one of those things is asking positive questions. And so the first one I'm going to ask, has anyone seen an observable hope? Any observable hope? I've got one, an observable hope. My daughter, I had her in my hands, saw a picture. My hair was brown. I didn't have bags underneath my eyes. Well, my daughter's 18. She's graduated from high school this coming year. She was just like this young person here, just like that ago. That's an observable hope, this fine young woman. And it's an observable hope for me. And this is an observable hope, but does anyone else have an observable hope? Someone seen anything that's given them a sense of hope in the world? People being kind to each other. The color green, that's an observable hope. Haven't you noticed that? When you've been seeing the color green, haven't you been feeling more hopeful? Yes. Yeah, I see your hand up. What? I love it. Planting seeds, gardening, and seeing that shift. There's a lot of gardeners in this room. When you start seeing changes in the garden, isn't that an observable hope? Remember, your ability to highlight small things makes big things happen. Okay? So anyone else have an observable hope they want to share? Yes, please.
The bubbliness.
Can you say it again first? Because we didn't hear that.
My daughter has just gotten into a new relationship, and her joy and delight and effervescence is just beautiful to watch.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Anyone else have an observable hope before we go to the next question? Yes, sir.
Just seeing Tina here doing the kindness of walking around and making sure Ella had a chair under her leg.
I love
She
that.
was all knocking off all these checks on her, doing service and
I love
exercise.
that. I love that. Being of service to the spiritual community. Let's give it up. I love that. I love that. And by the way, I want to encourage you to give yourself more applause. Sometimes just like, give yourself applause. Applause, clapping your hands, changes your energy, and it's actually also an energetic affirmation. Okay? The next question is actionable hope. Have you done anything that you feel proud of? And I want to say this because I was going to say this over the last one. I am very proud that I broke the chain of abuse. I never met my father. You know, I grew up where there was a lot of hostility, a lot of anger, a lot of swearing, a lot of judgment, a lot of criticism. And I'm not saying that I've been like a prince in this. It's been a growth process. But I am so, this is an actionable hope that I am still learning from my daughter, and she's helping me to be a better man and better father, and I'm able to reflect that back to her. I feel that's an actionable hope. Does anyone else have something that they've done? Oh, by the way, and I'll show you one. Here's another one for me. Oh, well, I don't see it. But I have a copy of it around. I'll show you in a moment. I put a book out on Amazon. That's an actionable hope. Again, you're living the hero's journey. Give yourself credit. When I was a kid, I thought I was never going to be able to do anything good. Me putting a book out, even a small book. Does anyone else have an actionable hope? I see your head nodding. Do you have an actionable hope? Yes.
I'm looking to publish something on Amazon as well about the human biofield.
Oh, really? Have you been working on that?
Yeah, for the last 2 years. Solid.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Here's what I did, this little small book. It's a 40-day practice. It's a small book. You can take a look at it later if you want. That is so awesome. And again, when you do that, what you're doing is you're affirming yourself. Be aware that when you do something like that, you're also affirming your childhood self. I love that. Anyone else have an actionable hope they want to share? Just small things are just as important. Yes, please. I see your hand first. Yes. And then we have another person over here. Oh, we have the light that goes off. Okay.
I like to paint cards for my friends when they have birthdays or anniversaries or
sympathy cards. It really always makes me feel, spending that time with them for an hour or so, thinking about them and making things.
I love it.
It's
I
my
love
favorite
it.
thing to do.
I love it.
Thanks.
We have one more person over here.
Actionable hope is meeting more like-minded people. So I went to Jay's drumming last night, which was awesome. And Tina's in service this
love
morning,
it.
which was great, and really enjoying you as well.
Oh, thank you so much. And again, I want to encourage any of you who are interested to come into my healing circles, because it's a circle. I love it. Thank you. Yes, please.
So I have a 7-year-old daughter, and I took her rollerblading yesterday, and she insisted on going down the hill that I told her to walk down, and she was like, "This is too slow." And I was like, okay. And I just had to like let it happen, even though there was a curve at the end. I kind of like knew what was going to happen. And she wiped out totally, skinned both of her knees because she also insisted on not wearing knee pads. And I had to like wait for the lesson. And she got up and she looked at me and she sang this song that I taught her. I taught her a song that goes, "I am brave, I am strong, I am confident." And after she fell, she got up and she looked me in the eye with tears and blood all over her knees, and she said, "I am brave, I am strong, I am confident." And I was like, oh, yeah.
I love that.
I taught you that.
I love that. And that is such a great thing right there. I just want to say, what a gift as a parent. Because what you have done is you seeded a positive belief. And again, that's what this is about, is creating a relationship to positive beliefs. Now, I'm going to thank you so much. And I'm going to pull one card, and I want to ask you to be aware. This is one of my beliefs, is that when you're calmer, your intuition will speak to you. So it's not about if the right card comes, it is the right card, but it's how is it the right card. Can you tell me when, please? Just say when. I love that. Right on time. So the right card is the blank card. The blank card. The blank card is faith. The blank card does not have rules. It doesn't have the way insistences. It just has the affirmation, yes. I'm going to ring the bell. I'm going to ask you to listen carefully. So here we go. Now I want to end with this last affirmation, this last statement of belief that ends up in faith. I love life. I'm going to ask you to say it 3 times. I love life. I love life. I love life. Thank you. Namaste.
Okay, thank you, Drake. So now is time for our offering, where we ask you to dig deep, remembering that this is an organization that's independent and totally reliant on your donations. You can also go online at lakeherrittspiritualcommunity.org and donate online. You can become a regular sustaining donor. That really kind of helps keep our bottom line. So while you're digging deep, Gary's going to play some music, and the ushers are going to pass the baskets.
When you pray, move your feet. Bring His love to the people you meet. Get out your chair, walk the streets. When you pray, move your feet. Feel like lightning in your hand. When you reach out to help your fellow man. Stronger, stronger, the more you do. Each and every time you follow through. So when you pray, move your feet. Bring His love to the people you meet. Get out your chair, walk the street. When you pray, move your feet. I tell my lover everything I know. I bring her with me misunderstood, we're hand in hand. Means much more when we take a stand. True love travels from heart to heart. It's always there when you're ready to start. Up along in a steep and a winding road, love gonna help you lift that load. So when you pray, move your feet. Bring His love to the people you meet. Get out your chair, walk the street. When you pray, move your feet.
Okay. So we have this routine of blessing the green, that energy green, right? That positive energy green. And if you'll repeat after me, God's perfect love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I am. Aho. Okay, now let's circle up for our closing circle.
I just want to give you both my card before you go. Yep, thank you. Thank you. I'm going to go over there. So can we close off this circle a little bit here? Do we need to go on this one, you think, or can we do it? Yeah, let's do this one. Okay. Now I want to sing one more song. I don't even know the words of this song, but I bet a lot of us have sung, and just a little bit of it. So here we go. This little heart of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little heart of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little heart of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Breathe. Last thing I'm asking you to do is bring your left hand on top of your right on top of the chest. Breathe into it. I am safe. I am safe. I am safe. I am safe. Namaste, my friends. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.